kutoka hapo just go ahead. And the only reason why I used to fund my own things is because that nilikuwa nataka most shares, and the thing is you can't get most shares if people are funding you.
Yeah.
So at best, at least niweke kusia kujiprotect hapo, like creative control.
Yeah.
And right now what I do is I give investors the clause of buying back my shares. Nikiambia hii ndo yako ikirudi, now I'm going to buy back my shares mpaka ifike hapa. So the fact that kutoka, I guess I started building products nikiwa kutoka 18. I met Polikapiga the way before hata alikuja kwa the scene akiwa Shell huko.
Yeah.
And I remember nilikuja nikamwambia cheki, I've created this app ya kuonesha watu their nearest Shell petrol station wakiishiwa na gas. Inaweza kukuambia if your fuel is low, inakutumia tu text message based on the calibration of your phone. They were like, we don't think it can work, blah blah blah. So that was in like around 2015. 2017 they replicated the same thing, but sasa haikuwa na hizo details zangu. So then nikionyesha my small brother was like, yo, this guy just hawa si walichukua tu the idea and wakarana. Akasema, bro, unafaa kuwa stuck. Nikasema, nah, this is a flex. Inamaanisha I'm on to something. Kuna time Musyoka I get so emotional that why would this guy want to work with me? And then on the other side, mtu akiiba idea yangu, I don't know, for some reason I get happy about it. I'm like, okay, sawa, umenionyesha the fact that kuna idea hapa mbele. Because when Front Seat started, ilikuwa just about live streaming na nini. Sasa ikaenda kudevelop to a point that even indie producers wanaweza weka movie zao hapo. Not only that, upcoming journalists wenye wameenda wakafanya investigative report, unaona, I want to sell it on Front Seat, they can easily sell it there. Unaona. So the thing is, I think mimi kuingia kwa the content creation space ilianza na kudevelop products, and then sasa hiyo OCD shida yangu nilikuwa naambia creatives, check, no one is going to pay for this thing. Hii kitu unapiga YouTube, no one is going to pay for it. You have to
Sorry.
No worries.
Filter.
Hiyo reflective imetoka. Kuna nini? Lakini hiyo reflection inaoneshana. Na you see.
Reflection, yeah.
Unaona hii reflection iko hapa nyuma. Ndio sikuwa nataka ionekane huko. That's why I put it there. But it's okay, ionekane, naona iko sawa huko. Now you see, this is what nani.
But hiyo light imezima.
Hiyo haina shida. So that's the thing, nilikuwa na advice hawa watu, if you're going to monetize your thing, lazima we create na a different kind of, yani to a point that mtu ana feel I can pay for this thing
Value.
comfortably. Yeah, it's the value. Ikwe either in production ama ikwe in any other way. And now the good thing of now having a studio is that, okay fine, unaweza kakuja now like right now hizo products kitambo tukitaka kutengeneza hizi vitu, developer anatuambia sawa, tuangalie kama hii app ina work. We had to rent a studio. For 1 hour 30 minutes. Alafu tena these guys, developers you're working with ni watu wako India. So saa zingine network aingi ushabook studio, they're not available. Wanashika sa ile studio time iko karibu kuisha. Tuli book studio Musyoka mara mob mpaka I was like, you know what, when you're starting this project again, lazima nikuwe na studio. Sianzi kitu tena. And then ikagrow sasa kutoka hapo. Nikaanza kuandikia watu scripts, blah blah blah. This is how you're supposed to do it. Hapa ndo vile cutscenes zinafaa kuwa production. Whereas you're too complicated, bro. Why don't you just do this thing on your own? So apparently, nilienda tu home siku moja niko na camera. Haikuwa hizi cameras, it was a bit an older version. And nikakuwa na 2 ring lights and stuff, and I just started creating content hapo kwa TikTok. Saizi that guy mwenye alini challenge, he's at 2K followers. Me I'm at 14K. Na this is the first time Musyoka nimejiweka nje. I used to shy off, mimi kwa ule mse, like let me work in the behind the scenes. Hata zile photo tulichukua Kentwood na nini, hiyo ilikuwa tu yangu ya kujiwekea, never posted it anywhere. Unaona? So the thing is, nilikuwa naona there's a way I can just see hapa kuna loophole. This is what I'm going to do better. Na apparently hizo vitu ndo zimesaidiani nitengeneze better products. Do you work the same?
I mean, in terms of challenges, I mean, sijai kuwa in a position whereby content imeibiwa. Ama nimeona somewhere else For me, my approach is a bit different. You see, because also most of my work is commissioned work. So it's somebody who is approaching you to just. I'm part of a process. So I'm not the original creator, except when it comes to music. I mean, like music for the label, of course. But it's a similar approach. It's also a similar approach. But I'm a bit more pragmatic in my processes. I'm open-minded. I don't like being too closed to my own ideas. But then also when you encounter things like failures, I don't dwell in the past. I look for solutions. Mi sitaanza kujiuliza why did this go wrong. As long as nobody has died.
But that thing came with maturity, though.
Yeah, of course, as you grow and also the more the stakes increase, the more you meet people who have for example, project ya budget ya 10K na project ya 1M, your approach will be very different. So as the budgets got bigger, my approach also changed. But again, as I've said, most of my work is commissioned. Now, unless the music work that I have complete creative control over, the other times I have to work and actualize somebody's vision, but using my own perspective, and that's what they are paying for me to make their product better. So that's why for me plagiarism is pretty non-existent.
There's a way signature yako unaekanga kwa your, what's it called, your production, in a way that everyone knows that hii ni ya Musyoka.
It's just my production style, but si kwenda out of my way to look for it. It's just, when you do something, hii ikisucceed unajua kumbe nikifanya hivi itawaka. So you tend to work around a similar methodology, and that kind of becomes your signature. But me, sijaisikia producer ameenda akasema akakaa chini akasema today I'm looking for my signatures. You just do something that you think is unique to you, and then people adopt it. You do it on a second project, on a third one, and you realize, kumbe I have a template. This is my template, and this is how my music is going to sound like. So that's how it has worked for me, and that's why could deviate from what has worked is always very difficult. And producers go hata ukiangalia, when a producer is changing a style, most of the time there's a new player who's come to his circle, either a new co-writer. For example, kuna time sound ya Timbaland ilikuja ikachange. Hii time ya Justin Timberlake, Nelly Furtado. But who was behind that change? It was Danger. There was a protege who was behind pretty much most of that new sound of Timbaland. Same thing that happened with Dr. Dre. When alianza kuwaka na kina Melman na kina Scott, his sound changed. When he worked with kina Michael Elizondo, they gave him a completely different approach. But most of the time unapataga, by the time that change is happening, that's your peak. So now you have a template that kind of works because you've refined it over time. Productions at Timbaland around the time of Pony, Missy, see the same na Justin Timberlake time. Productions at Dre around Snoop, see the same na akikuja kufanya kina Eminem na 50 Cent. So it's also part of growth. You also have to grow. Nikiangalia when I started producing my music from uko fulani, nonini, P-Unit to what I'm doing right now, you also have to evolve. You can't stay in the same place at the same time because technology is changing, sound is changing, the consumer is changing. And sometimes, we are driven by what the consumer wants to hear. Sometimes we give them what they want to hear, but sometimes they tell us what concept the consumer is always right, and sometimes the consumer doesn't know what they want. And the principle I used to support that school of thought is, if Henry Ford had asked consumers if they wanted a car, they would have said no, they want more horses. They want a faster horse, but not a car. So sometimes the consumer will tell you what he wants, but also sometimes you tell them this is what works. Yeah, because I don't think Steve Jobs alisikiza consumer.
You're right.
Yeah, aliunda phone akawambia said this is the future, guys.
Do you know he's the one who introduced Ali Innovate podcast?
Yeah, he's the one. But you see, nobody knew about it. The same thing with an iPhone. Kila mtu alikuwa amezoea BlackBerry kwati wakamaliza ai touchscreen. Sasa hakuna mtu akona keyboard kwa simu.
You're right.
So it can go either way. There is no formula which is wrong and which is right. It can go either way. Sometimes the consumer doesn't know what they want until they see it, and they see how it is going to make their life efficient and effective. But also sometimes they can tell you, your product is not working, as we prefer it to work like this. Because this is what, at the end of the day, bottom line is it efficient? Is it effective? Is it improving my life? So if you can't answer those three things with your product, and sometimes you will need to tell the consumers, actually, this is going to improve your life, and let them figure it out and see, and they're like, wow, this is changing our life.
Is there a time kuna protege amekuja akajaribu ama no akaku-influence uchange style yako one way or another? Because of course with new generations come new things.
Of course, I mean, most of the guys I collaborate with, I mean, and the beauty of working with younger people who are joining the industry, they have a certain level of perspective and that you may not have, and a certain level of access to resources that I have no access to. More efficient tools, like nowadays chezagi keyboards anymore.
Oh, how come?
I just ham the idea, I do a demo, and I send to a songwriter. They'll work faster. Jumi either nitalea, nitaenda business meeting, nitakaa chini 6 hours ni perfect keyboard. My time has become thinner.
Your level of detail.
No, it's just my responsibilities have increased and my time has not changed.
I get you now.
So ile time sikuwa nashughulikia watoi, I could stay 8 hours or 10 hours in the studio and perfect that keyboard. I could take time and do it and work on those and perfect those ideas over time. But now there's somebody who is in my position 10 years or 15 years ago. He has all the time. He has all the time in the world, but the opportunity is not there. So why not give this guy an opportunity?
Right.
Yeah. And I always believe the cake will never end. The cake is too big. You cannot be greedy with resources. If a client pays you, I'm nowadays comfortable just taking 10%. I'm more than okay where I've reached in life. I'd rather have 110% amounting to a very big share than 50% of something very small. Yeah, I'd rather have 10% of a very big share than 50% of a small cake. So, if I have meetings, if I have parental obligations, if I have engagements public engagements here, if I have trainings here, na bado kuna hii song ina need kuwekelewa keyboards, I don't have 8 hours anymore. So I'd rather that time I pay somebody else to finish it. Mi nikuja tu sasa nimalizie. I'm becoming more of a finisher than the originator of the content. I'll come up with the idea, I'll do all the demo work and everything, but I'll assign somebody. I'd rather have somebody work on that. They'll also earn a living. And I keep my small share and I pay them their share. And that way we'll do more work, more volumes. Like, I mean, sometimes I look at the amount of money I pay my co-writers. I'm like, wow. I can keep all this money to myself, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't have the time. Hata nikieka ido, I will frustrate clients. I'll have weak products because I'll be rushing to just beat deadlines. It beats the purpose. And at the end of the day, I think the way the world works, collaborating and teamwork is everything. I mean, if God angetaka to work in teams, angeinvent mtu mmoja afanye kila kitu, but that's not how the world works. If you want to go further, work with others. That's how I look at it.
Kuna point fulani, I guess you were too much in the conversation nikaipita. I talked about Frasha coming here akikwambia nadhani ngoma yako iko sawa until Musyoka kwambia hapana. Hii ingine ndio iko fiti. So of course there's that eye you have of a producer that the artist doesn't see. So which perspective do you come from when you tell an artist or when you give an artist ideas?
Yeah.
So which perspective do you come from as a producer? Do you like look at it from an audience perspective? You just look at it from ile perspective, I'm a producer, these are the details that the audience wants to hear?
It could go both ways. You have to look at it from the audience and you have to look at it from a producer. From the producer side of view is, does it meet the basic threshold of what makes a great song? You know, as I said, there are foundational thresholds, whether you like it or not. A chorus has to be there, yeah, or something people can remember. I mean, of course, there are successful songs without choruses. I mean, but those are exceptions, not the rule.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so you cannot use an exception to base your everyday methodology and say, I'm not going to do choruses in all my songs. It won't work. You know, there is what the consumer is tuned to hearing, and there's what a consumer expect a song to be. Kaa sahi unaona kuna hii debate ya how long a song should be. You see, right now songs have become so short. Even the song makers are like, hey, no, this is not right. We cannot do songs that are 1 minute.
Yeah, true.
You guys, you are spoiling them. So the songs lose meaning. They just become a commodity and stop having that emotional connection. But of course, I understand being driven by the TikToks of the world and the short format videos. So the market has kind of shifted to that. So you can do songs that, but you see, at the end of the day, those things that are making the short video forms are what? It's a chorus. And the chorus has always been there in songs. So guys are like, you guys forget all these verses mnatuimbia hapa. We tunataka tu catchy part. That's what we'll make our TikTok content with. You see, it has not changed the foundations of a song having a chorus and a verse, but it has just made the chorus be very key to meet the consumer expectations of short format content. So sometimes you have to look at it from a technical point of view, give objective truths. Your kick is sounding shit, your snares are garbage. You have to change that. I don't think this chorus will work because this chorus, the melody is not catchy. It doesn't evoke any emotions. So, I mean, you critique based on both sides. Sometimes you put yourself in the consumer's shoes and you're like, that's what I'm saying, nimesikia songs that are so well written, but they're so badly produced. But they're very well written. They will emotionally relate to, the consumer will relate to that story. But your song ikienda kwa club ama ukisikiza kwa radio, the distortion and everything. And for me, I'll give you an example of a song called Fagilia by Mr. Nice. The quality of production was downright atrocious, to say the least. But the song was well written. I used to sing it, but I used to cringe when I'm singing it. The chorus is so catchy. The melody is the vibe is right.
Have you tried to master it just for
No,
yourself? Just know ile unasikia tu peke yako unasema.
But sina elements, sina kicks, sina nini. Vitu vocals in a distort, auto-tune is badly used. But it worked. So sometimes, that's why I say critiquing things can be very dangerous. Because you may think you know it all, but hey, the consumer tells you, hey, fuck you, bro. You don't know anything. Yeah, so you have to be very careful when you're critiquing things.
I think hapo ndo palipia mimi niko na shida. I should do better nowadays because the first thing you find the same way I guess it's the energy I also give others and I expect back. Critiquing something in a way that it's a positive critic, like you say okay, so jamaa amefanya kitu lakini angeifanya hivi pia bado hiyo ni dangerous in a way because you're judging now.
Yeah.
So as in I think nafaa work on that pia because mimi by the time let me give you an example. Remember when I told you unafaa kuja podcast? Unajua hiyo time it was I guess a little over 2 years ago ama under 2 years ago. Sio?
About a year.
A year ama 2?
Hey.
It was okay.
It's about a year. 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. So this production, the moment I told you msoka unaweza kama episode 1, I was sure that his equipments zitakuwa ready in 4 weeks, but I didn't tell you. I was like, okay, let me just keep that information for myself. Again, tukakuwa na delays mpaka hiyo nini. However, tungeanza then, hatungekuwa na hii setup. Hiyo setup, hiyo budget hiyo podcast then ilikuwa 100,000. Unaona? That meant hata kamera ilikuwa moja. Kamera ilikuwa moja. Lights probably ilikuwa like 2, of which haikuwa this kind of lights, ilikuwa the ring lights nilikuwa nimeweka, and then the mics were not even condenser, they were just USB dynamic mics. So the more delays happened, mimi nikaanza kufanya research, nikaanza tu kwenda down the rabbit hole, nikaanza kuona a podcast imekam. I listen to it all through na naangalia comments. So I look at what the audience are saying. The audience zingine wanasema I don't like the host, and I interrupt the guest who's coming. So I paid attention to all that, but mostly mwenye alifanya ni structure hii podcast yote ilikuwa Joe Rogan, because I liked his conversational skills ama his conversational point of view. Una get, because most of the time alikuwa analeta watu on his podcast and takes them out of character. Like today, I'm sure, is this the first podcast tumeongelea films peke yake? Tumeongea films.
Hapana. No, okay. In details. Apple.
Okay, no worries.
In details.
Take your time. Usijali, take your time. Take your time.
Sijui mata imepita wapi.
I know that feeling. Inakonga very...
Okay. In details, yeah. But most of the podcast naendaga, of course, definitely it's pretty much about production. Yeah.
So most of the time nilikuwa nataka kutake the character kila mtu anajua, because nilikuwa na watch CTA yako jana sikupone mate. Nilikuwa na watch CTA yako jana. And I swear to God, I'm not going to ask you any of the questions Esther amekuuliza, because technically he has done a good job doing that. Nilikuwa nataka kutoa out of same thing we did with Frasha, same every guy nimestaki kuongea music, a bit of it, maybe my curiosity and stuff. But Joe Rogan ndo alifanya, yani ni tengeneze kitu vizuri. So the budget then ilikuwa 100,000. The budget hii podcast saizi is over $1 million, depending na ile place tumekaa. Hii podcast tulikuwa tunafaa kuifanya home, unaona, kwa ile 1 bedroom iliko huko. But again, alhamdulillah, God came through. Na hizo delays, I even thank those delays ili happen. I swear to you, Musyoka, nilikuwa naamka every day naona ma podcasters wanaangusha new things. And I never used to get mad at them. I used to get mad at the world. I was like, you guys, hamjui kitu inakam. Hamjui kitu kana. Anytime tu ndio na delay nasema okay fine. Naongeza iko budget. Naongeza it went on mpaka by the time my partners wanaona budget wanasema Nasir, kila time kuna delay unaongeza tu. Nikawambia the reason naongeza is because we'd rather tuingie kama we are very unique. And it's not only me, it's other upcoming nani tunawekea hii kitu. Yani tunaifanya ikuwa very affordable, but again high quality. And in that detail, you see this mic, I told you, Mike Momona, the producer, Mwambia, bro, I need you to create for me an intro. What's it called?
Jingle.
Yeah, an intro jingle. And inafaa kuwa kama Boondocks. You remember Boondocks vile ilikuwa inaanza?
Yeah.
Nataka hiyo style. Akasema sawa, no problem. And then I called a friend of mine anaitwa Vian. Kambia Vian, I need a 16 bars on this one. Ikifunguka, these are the words I need you to use because apparently na dealing in ama conspiracies and my fan base nimeanza kukuwa na beef with people who are called flat earthers. So
Hao ni kina nani sasa?
The people who believe the earth is flat. Do you believe?
How is it flat?
Okay, what's even the most weird thing is they believe the sun, the moon, the asteroid, kila kitu are within our atmosphere and everything moves around the earth. There are no planets. You're not a believer, definitely.
Of flat earth?
To be honest, Miss Yoka, I've gone down every rabbit hole to try and understand why someone would think the earth is flat. And yani kuna point mpaka nikasema, okay, fine. I'm just going to throw away everything I've learned. I'm just going.
I mean, hata hii video ya Red Bull walifanya msee akitoka from space. You can clearly see it around the thing.
They say it's a fish lens.
The moon is round, so you can see like.
They say the moon is a hologram of something else. It's not real. It's a very strong community of which I asked them, what would anyone get by lying if the earth is flat or round? Like, yes, COVID tunaweza elewa, conspiracy, there's big pharma, nini, tunaweza elewa about other things, but the earth being flat. So how watu was in they constantly bash me, wanasemanga we ndo dwanzi, you have a white man's mentality. But what people don't know, Bedouins, Arab Bedouins in the desert, every culture walikuanga na astronomers wao. It's just that pia African culture wako na that bit of history mawaipiwa out. People used to study astronomical objects kutoka kitambo. So that being said, anyway, you know, did you take a look at the TikTok content I sent you?
Gani?
The TikTok content I sent you on WhatsApp.
Oh, ile kitambo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as in, I don't know, nilianzisha tu hiyo community and apparently it just grew. It popped, I don't know in how many months. Watu wakaanza kusema, okay, most of them wanasema, I don't agree with you, but thank you for bringing this kind of topics. Because the same topics watu wanakulanga wakikula miraa, wakiwa high, they talk about the stories za jaba. If the earth is flat or round, ama kuna... Okay, personally, vile nilianza kuongelea this, what I came to understand was bullshit, was the rockets. This is SpaceX and stuff. I used to be a big Elon fan until I realized that it's just fake.
How fake about how?
Okay, let me watch and kwambia. It's as simple as this. Huh? If you Google the highest a rocket can go on fuel, in as what's it called? 100? Is it 100 kilometers away from Earth? Zaidi hapo haina fuel ya kuipeleka past that. And space is technically in 100 kilometers above Earth. Hapo ndo pali watu wanapata weightlessness. But what you don't know is the Earth's atmosphere ni bigi sana. In fact, even people are speculating that the moon iko part of our atmosphere because the exosphere in a stretch around 680,000 kilometers out.
How far is the moon?
The moon is very far. Vile wanasema, you can fit all the planets, including Pluto. Kwa hiyo distance kutoka Mercury all the way mpaka Pluto unaweza zifit yote, na itachukua hiyo distance kati ya moon and earth. Don't know how many kilometers it is factually, but it's quite a distance, of which bado I don't believe even the moon landing happened. Yeah, that was BS. That was BS kabisa. How the hell Russia wanaenda wanafanya wanapeleka satellite abroad, and since you're threatened by it unasema yo kesho tunaenda kwa moon, first try you make it happen, and then on top of all that hiyo technology inapotea.
Hatujairudi tena.
Hiyo technology, whatever technology they say they had is what we have in these phones today. Hatujairudi. Even Elon Musk cannot pull that moon landing size, because size information iko huko out there. You see, even right now what I think, even the India one, the one China recently landed on the moon, even India landed on the moon, but walitumia it wasn't man control. It was
robotics.
Yeah, hiyo mate imekusumbua. It went in the other side kwa trachea. Na nakwambia it usually bothers you mpaka
ina nasikia.
Dante, tuko how many minutes in?
101 minutes.
Oof. 1 hour 21 minutes. So bro,
10 minutes of edit.
Ati?
So itakuwa kama 10.
No, we're not editing anything.
What take one, take two cut.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Tunaweka yote, kila kitu. Hata hii kitu ikianguka tunaiweka yote. The thing is, nilikuwa nataka podcast za conversation.
Yeah.
Sikuwa nataka ikuwe this uptight.
Na mimi kunyongwa.
Wacha watu wataona. In fact, what I'm trying to do is, saizi kitu nafikiria ni kuchukua hizo edits zako zote za kukohoa and I'll turn it into a comic. So thank you bro for coming. First of all, imekuwa a huge, na tena promise yako umeiweka for 2 years. Umesema bro, ilikuwa inafaa kuwa episode 1. But episode 1 ungekuja vile tukiona hii, we hadn't figured everything out. So umekuja the right time.
Yeah. No, the setup is, I mean, I nearly watched the previous one. I was like, ooh. Nice setup, yeah.
Critic bro.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's nice. Hakuna kitu ya kucritic.
What can I improve on at least?
I honestly don't know. And, you know, podcasts should be organic as possible. So, the setup is nice. The camera work is nice. So.
Man,
and conversations are everything. Anyway, si atu tunaangalia aesthetics, your background iko
right.
Out of focus. Hizo ni vitu za film huko.
Bro, thank you for coming, manze. Umekuwa
Karibu.
Big thing, and kindly don't mind mimi nikileta watu wakuja kuona, because any space mimi nikiwa, I like opening these same platforms for my friends as well, especially with the guys who are doing great things, akina Mike, akina Dante hapa, akina Hari. Na get so 5 am ni wewe peke yake na Roikani umeka mkulu. If there's anyone sub, because most of the time nawaambianga kuna 5 am na kuna this other time. Hapana, 5 am hatuko bro. So shukran sana for coming. If there's anything, please at least nikubali the chance ya kukupigia kila time kukusumbua. No, tell me what I can do good.
Yeah. The door is open. That's all I can say.
Shukran bro.
Pleasure.
Thank you.